It's the 16th of January 2019. I'm David Griffin and I'm here talking to
Liam Biggs
and David Neal.
Gents, thanks for joining me. We're talking about Aston-on-Trent Cricket Club, and you've got a long association with the club going way back. And I know when we talked in an earlier interview, you talked about your cricket playing careers. And I'm interested because you must have come across some fascinating characters and had some interesting moments, probably on and off the field. Are there any that you are clean enough and don't require dusting off that you can share with us?
There's only, I've had to take a few out, but I think one of the great things playing at that particular time, the local headmaster was a chap called Harold Hilton, and he had his son Lee Hilton that we mentioned before. And the great thing for me was to see Lee and his dad both get half centuries, and they played in the same team.
Right.
Lee, of course, went on to score, I think, about 142. Harold, I think, was a little bit tired when he got to 60, so he threw his bat away. So, but that was great to see from the local perspective and all the local interest. One surprising fact, because the cricket field and football field are adjoining each other, you'd expect that the football field would have broken legs all the time, but not on a cricket field. But that happened to a team from St Luke's in Derby, where one of the players, because the ground was very much like that, a lot of lance in it before it was levelled, the player went down and actually snapped his leg. So there's quite a delay in the match. So it's the first time and only time I've seen a broken leg at a cricket field. Yeah.
Just going back to that, there's quite a lot of grounds that have that sort of, it almost made you feel seasick when you played on. I remember playing on in the 70s. What was that caused by? Was that agriculture?
I think a lot of it, and because the local area is very much a lot of gravel extraction, etc. One can only assume that you've got different levels of that, but I'm not sure of the exact technical term for it. They're called lands. And it was levelled out a few years later with new land drains.
Because an enormous amount of work that clubs must have put in. I remember Sandy Acre in the 70s. It was literally, it was like waves, and then suddenly one day it was flat, and you think, how did they manage to do all that over a winter?
Yeah, lots of the grounds were. Most of the grounds came up to better standards through my career, which was a long time, from 1960 to 2000 basically. And it's like football grounds. Derby County used to play on a patch of mud, and now they play on grass, don't they?
What were your favourite grounds, just out of interest, apart from your own?
Darlydale, I think, was easily the best one to go to.
What, as a ground or for the pitch?
For the ground and the pitch, I think it was just a nice day out. I think. I mean, we used to take wives and kids and things like this, which was all, Darlydale. We're going there.
Did you win there?
Once I think we had a bit of a story at Darlydale. I was captain, I think, of Aston from probably mid-80s, I'm quite sure, mid-late 80s, and we played and bowled first. Bod Winthrop smashed it all over the ground, and they got about 260 odd for not many. And at tea time, we all sat down for tea, and there was a guy in the corner we hadn't seen before. I thought, who's he? And he had a long, gingerish moustache. And he was talking to Phil Russell, who was their man at the time. Anyway, we went out to bat, and we had a reasonable batting side. John Vickers, who went to Derby, he was a policeman and finished up at Derby County and various things. John opened the batting, a very good bat. But when we looked at the field, they hadn't got anybody in front of the ball apart from the bowler. I thought, what's going on here? Anyway, this guy came behind him from a long way away, and slips were well back. And sure enough, this guy could bowl. And it was Owen Mortensen. It was his first game in the league, and he was a bit sharp. And he'd played for Wales. He'd played for Denmark against Wales the week before, and Phil Russell had picked him up. And that we thought, well, that's it. We'll never see him again. The first game next season we played Cruton, and the only other game I think that Mortensen played in the league was against Aston. I think he got 7 for 13 that day.
Did he speak to you? Because he spoke to most batsmen, didn't he? Some a bit in Danish, but English swear words.
I mean, I hit him for 4 again through 5 legs.
He did.
And he bowled this ball. He swung in that much.
Yeah.
As it hit me toes, as he jumped out of the way.
English, he'd have played.
Oh, brilliant bowler.
Outstanding.
Yeah. Best I've ever faced with that. It wasn't very long, but best I've faced. Yeah.
Just well, because I don't want to forget this bat. You've got a bat in front.
Yeah, the bat here is.
If you just lift it up for the camera.
Well,
so we can...
that's in fact that was the 1977 signature bat. That is the Australian team that turned up against Derbyshire sometime in '77. Unfortunately, you can't read all the signatures because it got battered with. But on the back of the bat, there's signatures of, in good order, of Gloucestershire, Yorkshire, Leicestershire, and Worcestershire.
Yeah.
And the story is that Keith Stevenson, who played for Aston, he brought it along. It must have been some sort of prize, and I finished up with it. Keith played against Warwickshire and bowled out Calicharan and several others on a Friday afternoon, 7 for something.
Yeah.
And he played for us next day against Butterley and got none for something.
That's the game, I guess.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So it's.
David, back to you, because I'm sure you've got some more.
Yeah, we've got. There's
tales
lots of tales, but we've had to take those out, of course. There are a couple of things during the, if you like, the heyday of Aston. Probably looking at the 70s, 80s, aren't we?
Yeah.
When they won the actual league, and the year they won the league, and I'm fairly sure it was against a team called Morton from up
Morton
North
Colliery,
Coast,
yeah.
And it came to the last over, and I think they needed something like 6 runs to win or something like that. And if they won, they would have won the league.
Right.
So Pat Taylor, in his wisdom,
That was prior to 77.
Prior to 77,
And Pat wasn't playing after 74. Then.
Right. So the game in question against Morton, they needed so many to win, and the umpire said right arm under. So he bowled that last over underarm, which I guess is not against the law.
It wasn't them, was it?
It wasn't against the law, no.
But that was.
Because Trevor Chappell did it, of course.
Yeah,
Greg
that's
Chappell's
right.
brother.
And another.
So the entire over was bowled.
The whole over.
And rolled along the ground.
Yeah, absolutely.
What did the Morton batsman say?
That's one I can't tell you.
And was the umpires presumably were okay, or
Well,
it was not within the spirit of the game?
Absolutely, but I think there were a few mutterings amongst the crew.
Did they try and hit the ball?
Yeah, they did. They tried to hit the ball, but in many cases it was just a single. But they needed 6, and they didn't. So that was that. But also, there's a player that plays for Swarkston, and he played against Aston, and he infuriated a chap called Tony Ironmonger, who we both know well, and Tony. And what Johnny Dixon used to do, in fact I was talking to him recently about this, if you imagine the cricket ball, he used to wet this side, he used to spit on it or damp it, this side was always shine. And of course, he said the swing you could get from it, and of course he was always into trouble for that. And I don't know whether that's outlawed nowadays.
Well,
he couldn't do the
reverse.
Yeah, scuffed in. Yeah. But it's a little bit more.
Since the game began, people have tried to do things to the ball, haven't they?
Yeah.
I'd never have been able to bowl without picking the seam.
Just out of interest, who were your big rivals? Who was the team that you most wanted to beat, or that most wanted to beat you? Did you have a natural?
I think Langley Mill in the league times. I mean, we had a. They had
West Hallam.
Langley Mill. We had a really superb bowler, Dave Long, I think his name was. He was a quick leg spinner, and Langley Mill used to import him from down south every week, and he was really, good. Got loads of wickets. You couldn't hit him, and he was defend. But Reg Taylor, when we were winning that year, he sorted Mr. Long out. When Longy was coming to Aston, we played on the greeniest wicket you've ever seen. and his leg breaks never turned an eighth of an inch. You know.
Just out of interest, who were the best batsmen that you saw in that period? You talked about 70s and 80s. It was a golden age for the Border League, wasn't it? Who were the best batsmen that you saw in the league?
Bob Winthrop was very good. You wondered how you'd get him out.
For Aston, I think Lee Hilton, and Bob Young was excellent opening batter. He's a big guy as well.
Yeah.
So
Bob Young had a tremendous way of playing with a smile, and his smile would he could bowl as well. But he ran into bowl with his tongue sticking out, the biggest smile. And also when he was batting, the ball would be running up and he'd be pulling faces at him.
Of course, Reg, Captain Manning, as we know him affectionately, he was an excellent bat. I'm not sure if he played for Derbyshire at all or the seconds, but it's certainly a very, very good batsman.
Very good sportsman. I mean,
oh yeah, absolutely. Football as well as cricket.
Yeah. But who were the best bowlers? I mean, you've mentioned one bowler there, but who were the other good bowlers? Not necessarily ones that played county cricket.
Oh, the one who got 10 wickets against us was Bill Jeffries from Spondon. I was one of his victims. And I still see Bill, he's a real nice chap. He was always thereabouts. Earlier on than that, when I played at Qualcast, there was a chap named Les Bradbury who played for
Matlock, was it?
Matlock, and he played for Derbyshire.
He got a 10 for it, didn't he, Les?
Yeah, Les did, yeah. He got 9 for 7 against us at Qualcast once. Yeah, he was very useful. He just nipped it off the seam all over the place. And Lesford Richard was another chap.
Who's that?
Les Richard.
Who did he play for?
He played for Derby Caribbeans. I played against him on the race course somehow or other, but we reckoned he chucked it in those days. And eventually he played a couple of games for Derbyshire,
right.
And they had to get rid of him because they thought he chucked it.
Well, it's interesting, when I interviewed the West Hallam guys, Graham Gamble said I bowled with a bent arm. He actually openly admitted that it wasn't a straight arm. I'm mindful off camera, you mentioned a vicar story. Is it clean enough to tell?
Not really, but
tell it anyway.
I'll tell you another one, but I think on the same day that the chap broke his leg, and we had a tea break after he carted off in the ambulance, he locked his keys in the car. And of course,
the guy with the broken leg,
the vicar.
Oh, the vicar.
Sorry, the vicar. I beg your pardon. He was their captain, I think. He locked his keys in the car, and he said, "I don't know what I'm going to do, because I need to get everything out and so on." So I said, "Well, if you just come with me," and I got this coat hanger, a wire one, and put a loop on it, and put it through the window, and pulled it up. And he said, "Thank you, my son." He said, "Now, do you do this for a living?" I said, I don't at all, Vicar, honestly. I said, I've done it to my own car recently, so I got away with that one. So.
I bet he tells that to everyone.
Oh, everybody, yeah. He never parked near them. Yeah.
I think it's clear you played, I mean, everybody thinks their age was the golden age, wasn't it? But before we conclude, I mean, what did the game mean to you, to playing in those days? I know it was competitive cricket, it was tough cricket, and winning cricket at times. But also, it was a fun time. So, what do you look back on it fondly? I assume.
Oh, very fondly. Yeah, it was a social thing. It was fun. I mean, the pub at I think it was named in a minute. There was at the junction on the Heanor Road and just past. Name of the pub.
Morley.
Near Morley, just as you come down the hill in Morley.
The crossroads. The Rose and Crown.
Rose and Crown. Yeah. The Rose and Crown on a Saturday evening after you'd played cricket, you'd get about 6 or 8 teams in there. Because everybody was coming from Heanor, Ilkeston, down from here and across. Yeah. And you got all the results before the Derby Evening Telegraph on it, because there was no internet or anything like that. So that's where you got your results, and that's where you got all the crack. It was really good fun. And you also had probably 3 points in those days. Yeah.
Yeah, it was always alright to have 3.
Well, it was only weak beer then.
Yeah. Gents, it's been interesting and it's been humorous, and I've really enjoyed hearing what you've got to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you.